Sir, I have written all the tests of MGP plus program that I joined. The questions were really analytical. The type of questions asked in UPSC and in MGP, they were of very similar nature. Sir, in my first attempt, when I could not clear mains, I realized that my mistake mostly lies in optional. My option was geography, and I could not prepare sufficiently in my first attempt. Secondly, answer writing, I could not focus a lot last time. This time, I did a lot of answer writing and giving tests with proper time management. So that also really helps, sir.
Many congratulations to you, Naman, for this wonderful performance, wonderful rank. The first question is, what were you doing when you got the result and what was your immediate feeling?
Sir, that day was not a very good day for me. I was having a fever of 103, 104. I was shivering with fever, and the same time results came. I saw the results. I started seeing the results from the top, and luckily I got to see my name very early in the list. So that time, even though I had a fever, but I jumped, I danced, I shouted. Then a lot of calls started coming in. So after that, I used to be feeling cold and shivering, but at the same time, talking to people and thanking them. So that was a mixed feeling. Then the fever subsided in a day or two, sir.
Wonderful. All right. So, Naman, can you briefly tell us a bit about your educational background, about your family background, occupation of your parents, and if you are a 90% sort of topper ever since school and college, how's the academic and family journey been?
Sir, I was born in Jaipur and did all of my schooling till class 12th in Jaipur. Then I did my chemical engineering from IIT Bombay. I started my engineering in 2016 and graduated in 2020. In 2020 itself, I started preparing for the civil services and did not join any job. So I do not have any professional experience. I gave my first attempt in 2020 of UPSC. I reached till the main stage, but could not clear the mains. Then 2021 was my second attempt, and this is the result. Sir, with respect to my parents, my father works in the State Bank of India. He is currently posted in Mumbai right now. So I am living with my family in Mumbai. My mother is a housewife, sir. And with respect to 90%, sir, I have done well in my 10th and 12th boards. In 12th boards, I got 95.6%. And in IIT Bombay also, I did fairly good. I had a 9+ CGPA. So you can say that 90% plus.
All right. Okay. So, Naman, how did you come to know about Forum IAS? Forum IAS has usually been, a word of mouth thing. So increasingly, we are trying to see where our students are coming from. So how did you come to know about Forum IAS?
Sir, as far as I remember, I was aware about Forum IAS being one of the best institutes for preparation. And I was also aware about the blog in the academy.forumias.com that you run. So I was visiting those websites since the very beginning. And I also saw a lot of topper copies, MGP topper copies, and daily current affairs from your website. So, sir, I was fairly aware from the beginning. And later, I joined MGP course as well, sir.
When did you decide to prepare for the civil services, Naman?
Sir, I started preparing and decided to prepare in the January of 2020. That was just before COVID. So I decided to prepare then, and COVID stuck, so I had to prepare everything online. So all of my preparation was done from home starting 2020, sir.
So earlier we used to say that, one must pass out of graduation and then start preparing. But these days we are seeing that students from second year and third year are starting to prepare for civil sources. What is your take on this with the benefit of hindsight?
As far as my understanding goes, if one is very sure that he or she wants to prepare for civil services only, then one can start in the third year would be the right time, because if you start early, then there is some benefits and advantage. But if one is not sure and wants to explore other things also, so then in that case, it is better to first graduate well, explore whatever you want to, sit for placements. And then if you don't find it interesting, then you can start preparing. So in my opinion, one must utilize the college time also well and diversify the experiences, not only being constrained to civil services preparation.
What was your basic strategy for the prelims examination? The prelims is getting tricky each year with the difficulty levels that we've not seen before, and the competition as well with students like you, academically bright and coming for civil services. So what was your broad strategy for prelims?
Sir, for prelims, both the times I scored good marks. My strategy was to cover all the static material from the standard books really well and revise them multiple times. So I covered the static material and revised them multiple times, like 5 to 6 times before prelims. And the other thing was to have to give as many mock tests as possible. I have given mock test in the range of 40 to 50 both the attempts. And in the mock test, I realized that if you find the elimination strategy or you find the technique of answering the questions and you realize the good number of or the adequate number of attempts in which you are scoring maximum marks, for me it was between 90 and 95. So with mock test, you practice time management, you practice how many iterations you have to give the mock test in the paper. And similarly, what are the strong areas and the weak areas? So I gave 40, 50 mock tests in both my attempts. And sir, the other thing was to make short notes. I made short notes of 1 to 2 pages of polity, 1 to 2 pages of history, environment, and so on, so that I could revise in the last moment. And I remember in my both the attempts, some of the questions came directly from what short notes I made. And these were things which I usually could not remember or I found them to be tricky. So in that way, making short notes very short and crisp, this really helped. So these 3 were the things I did. Apart from that, all the standard books that everybody reads, I also read the same. So, with respect to current affairs, I regularly followed the Hindu newspaper and made notes out of them. Secondly, monthly magazines of different coaching institutions I have followed and found them very useful for prelims, because a lot of questions are either factual or if they are current affairs based, then you need to be thorough with the current affairs. So that really helped me, sir, the monthly magazines.
Naman, so you said you made notes out of the newspaper. So do you recommend making notes out of the newspaper for both prelims as well as mains? Do you think this is a good strategy for freshers? So given that sometimes freshers may not be able to discern or find out what is important and what is not. So did you not have that problem where you land up with a lot of notes and some of it is not useful either? Did you face that problem or what did you say?
Sir, it does happen that one is not aware what is important in the newspaper and not important. For this, initially when I started, I watched YouTube videos of different coaching institutions which provide daily current affairs of the Hindu or the Indian Express. And I watched that for 1 or 2 months. Then I realized that these are the things that these coaching institutions are covering. And this is what is important for me to understand. Simultaneously, I was also reading NCERTs and the standard books. So the syllabus was getting clearer to me. Once I was clear that this portion of the newspaper is frequently covered by the institutions and I also need to focus on them. So then I realized that these portions are important. And after 2 months or 3 months, then I started reading my own newspaper. And I used to cover the newspaper in one and a half month. And within that time, one and a half hour. And within that time, I would also make notes for them. And the notes would both have prelims and mains portion. So I would advise students to make notes because they would come handy if some of the portions are missed by the monthly current affairs of the coaching institutions.
So Naman, digital notes or paper notes, which one do you prefer or a mix of both of them? How is it for you?
Sir, for current affairs, I made digital notes on Evernote because current affairs topics might last for 1 month, 2 months or more. So I can just insert it then and there. While for static portion like history, geography, polity, all of these I made pen and paper notes because I found pen and paper notes to be more comfortable to read. But since current affairs are very dynamic, so I decided to make them online.
So now between Evernote and OneNote, we have a lot of competition. As students, but also students. So as students, we always think which one to choose. So what worked for you? Why did you choose Evernote and not go for OneNote?
Sir, I did not explore OneNote. That would have been a good idea. But Evernote allowed me to separate chapters on the basis of GS 1, 2, 3, 4. And within that, I segregated the topics according to the syllabus. So Evernote was good for me. I do not have much experience of OneNote, so I can't comment much on that, sir.
Naman, how much time do you think is necessary to prepare dedicatedly for the prelims according to you?
Sir, for total preparation, one should start 8 to 9 months or a year before prelims. And initially, the focus should be on covering the syllabus. I also did integrated study. Whatever notes I made from standard books and NCRTs was both prelims and mains perspective. But later on, once all the syllabus is complete and before 3 to 4 months of prelims, I think one should switch to whole prelims preparation. And during that time, the focus should be on remembering facts and not so much on analytical answer writing. So dedicated prelims is 3-4 months sufficient, sir.
So now some of us have a problem in prelims that we are able to eliminate 2 options and are left with 2 options.
Yes.
So what was your strategy with respect to these 2 options left? Did you attempt them? Did you not?
Sir, my strategy of attempting prelims paper was on 3 iterations. In the first iteration, I would attempt all the questions in which I was confident about. It usually ranged between 45, 50. The second iteration would be those questions in which I would be able to eliminate 2 options. And in those questions, which would lie between 20, 25, if I would be able to eliminate 2 options, then the probability of getting the question right is 50%. And if you have general understanding or have read the content well, then even those 50% probability also increases to 60-70%. So it's always good to attempt those questions in which you are able to eliminate 2 options or even 3 options, because in 3 options also there is a probability of scoring a positive marks rather than scoring negative marks. So this in my 40 to 50 mock test, I analyzed how many questions in which 2 options were eliminated, I got them right or got positive marks. And similarly, 1 option eliminated and 3 options left, how much I got the positive marks. In all the papers, I was getting good enough positive. So it is always advisable to attempt questions in which 2 options are eliminated, sir.
Naman, what was your strategy 1 month before the prelims examination and how did your day look like?
Sir, 1 month before the prelims examination, I would be making short notes. I'll be giving a lot of mock tests. So it will be 1 mock test every second day or even 1 mock test every day. So 2 hours would go into giving a mock test. Then again, 2 to 3 hours would go into analyzing the solutions of the mock test. And the remaining portion, I would read current affairs, newspapers, I would read daily. And the remaining time would be revision of whatever static material and current affairs material I have prepared. So this will be around 9 to 10 hours of study every day, or 10 to 11 hours of study every day around prelims.
So you are an early riser and studying in the morning or late night studies? What sort of person are you?
Sir, I study late in the night. I often study till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And I try to wake up early just a week before prelims so that I get into that schedule. But otherwise, I was always during my preparation a late study person, sir.
Late sleeper. So if you sleep late, you not wake up by 9 a.m. or 10 a.m.
Yes.
So how do you deal with the blues that come with it, isn't it? So some of our students, some of us who are studying, we do study till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. and then it's like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning. So you have some blues. How do you deal with that? Or you made peace with it?
Sir, my family was not concerned if I study late and wake up late, so that was not an issue. The other issue was if there are classes in the morning or if there are tests scheduled at 9 a.m., then it becomes difficult. So for that, I generally did not give test before that. I gave test at 2 to 5 p.m. slot or after that. So that was one thing. And with respect to preparation and studying late at night, I think that is fine. It does not matter as long as you are studying dedicatedly for 10 to 11 hours daily. So it does not matter if you study in the morning or late night. It just what is required is coverage of content and materials. So that was not an issue.
Coming to some hacks and tricks, did you use any hacks and tricks in your prelims examination which you'd like to share with us?
As such, there are no hacks and tricks. these can be said that elimination techniques or way of answering. So for elimination techniques, I would say that any of the options which are very extreme or which say that this must happen, this is or an extreme statement. So these statements tend to be generally wrong. Secondly, facts are not always right in the prelims paper. So always look for the facts and understand if these facts are possible or not. Thirdly, if something says that the trend is always increasing or the trend is always decreasing, then there is a catch in that, and one must find that. So apart from that, I found economy, polity, geography, these sections to be easier and comfortable for me to attempt, while modern history, art and culture, ancient and medieval history, these were somewhat trickier. So I would not take a lot of stress if I do not answer these questions well. But if I am comfortable in answering questions of economy and polity, then I will find the overall paper to be good. So it does not matter too much if your one section is not too strong, but try to attempt as much as possible in that section.
Coming to your mains preparation, so what is the difference in approach in preparation for the prelims versus the preparation for the mains examination?
Sir, there is a difference in the mindset that you need to go with during the mains and the prelims exam. In prelims, you need to solve the MCQs, while in mains, you have to write a lot and you have to be analytical in answer writing. So one difference obviously comes from writing answers. I practiced a lot of mock tests, MCQ mock test in prelims, while I practiced a lot of answer writing during mains. Every day I used to write 1 or 2 hours of answers. These could be previous year questions or questions from mock tests of different coaching institutions or full length tests of the coachings. So in this way, I used to attempt write and practice as many questions as possible. This was the one difference. Secondly, we need to make sure that our answers have value added to them. If my answer does not have facts, diagrams, maps, flowcharts, committee recommendations, schemes, all of these things in my mains answer, then probably I would fetch only average marks. And to have 1 mark or half mark extra from other people, then I need to include these. So for this, I need to read different committee recommendations or Niti Aayog report, ARC2 report. For all of these, we have to add value to our notes. So this was my focus area during my mains preparation. Note making notes more analytical so that issues, challenges, advantages, way forward, disadvantages, definitions, facts, all of these are included in my notes. And secondly, my answer writing strategy should be such that I could get good marks in my mains examination, sir.
So during the examination, how did you find the difficulty level of the papers, the mains papers? Not right now, but not in hindsight, but when you're writing the paper, how did you find the difficulty level of the paper?
Sir, I think mains papers are mostly on the predictable lines. I gave the 2020 mains also and 2021 mains also. A lot of questions, they come directly from the notes or the current affairs magazines that we study. So the questions are much more predictable. They are not difficult to solve also. Some of the questions, especially in GS3, were a little difficult, but I think something can be written on them. And even if 1.5 page or 2 page of content is written with whatever you know, it is justified. The paper was not so difficult. So I think the paper were on mostly predictable lines.
Coming to the mains answer writing, so you have made notes as well as practiced writing answers. If we are to choose one of them, given that there are so many questions to be answered, the test series itself has so many questions, versus note making versus answer writing practice just before the mains, like right now between the prelims and the mains, what is the right balance, or would you choose one, prefer one over another? How should the choices be made? Like,
sir, in my opinion, we need to have a right balance, and the balance should tilt towards making notes. Making notes is very important, and according to me, the note should be compressed and concise. So it does not take a lot of time to revise them, while at the same time, everything is consolidated and holistically covered in the notes. So I made sure that for each and every word written in the syllabus, I had 2 to 3 pages of notes. And in that 2 to 3 pages, I would try to cover each and every perspective or aspect which would be asked from that topic. So for this, I would say that note making is important. If you have limited time, then make short notes, make crisp notes. And in the notes, write your notes in the way that how you would write your answers. I used to make all the different types of flowcharts in the notes itself, which I would just replicate in my actual answers. Similarly, I would make maps, diagrams, everything, and just I will replicate that. So make notes, make them crisp and structured, and revise them multiple times. With respect to answer writing, it is also very important. To some people, it comes naturally, while to some, it takes some time for good answers. But again, practice makes the answers perfect. And one should practice at least 1 hour daily, or if not daily, then at least once in 2 days, so that the practice improves the answers.
You were a part of the mains guidance program, MGP Plus, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So what benefits did you get from the program with respect to GS and essay papers? Did you get any benefits? Did you practice? Though I see that you have written quite a few tests. So did you get any benefits? If so, what were they?
Sir, I have written all the tests of MGP Plus program that I joined. And I really found the questions of to be of very good quality. The questions were really analytical. The type of questions asked in UPSC and in MGP, they were of very similar nature. And the practice that I got while writing test, it also helped me in time management, because very frequently I used to face this issue of not being able to complete the test adequately in 3 hours. So I attempted MGP. I talked to mentor, and she guided me on how I can attempt the test and able to fulfill the requirements of the test within 3 hours. So that really helped. And the content in terms of the solutions given of the mock papers, they were also very good. So in terms of the evaluation I think really matches with what I got in the actual scores. And there was also consistency in different papers in terms of marks, which is a good thing, so that I can understand that I am consistently performing good in, or consistently performing similar in all the papers. So these were some of the benefits that I got from MGP program, sir.
That's wonderful, Naman. I'll pass the entire accolades that you have for us to the team. I'm sure they'll be very motivated to hear from you. So just before the mains examination, the last 2-3 weeks before the mains examination, here, what was your day like and how many hours were you studying? How did your day look like before the mains examination in the last 2-3 weeks?
Sir, in the last 2-3 weeks, I would make sure that I write 2 simulations of GS 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2 days. So I remember on 20th December, on 21st of December, I wrote GS 1, 2 and GS 3, 4. And similarly, on 28th and 29th of December, I wrote GS 1, 2 and 3, 4. So that was one thing I did. And before writing GS 1, 2, 3, 4, in the 7 days period, I would make sure that I revise all of the content, which I also had to revise just before the actual examination. So this was one thing. Secondly, again, I made short notes for mains also. Just like prelims, I made short notes of 2-3 pages for polity, economy, everything, optional also. But here I tried to be more analytical and not only writing facts. So this was another thing. And sir, I think this is mostly what I did. In number of hours, 12 to 13 hours would be how much I would be studying before mains.
With respect to essay, what was your broad strategy in terms of selection of the topics and overall going through the essay, given that there is a lot of weightage or importance given to the philosophical topics these days?
Sir, for essays, I did not initially found philosophical essays to be very comfortable to write, but with a lot of practice and writing previous year essays and writing essays at MGP also, I realized that philosophical essays they seem to be difficult, but when you think about them, there are a lot of examples that we can gather from what we study in GS and ethics especially. So I used to read all the topics really well, try to think if I have some examples on this, and if I'm able to gather or think of 5 to 10 examples on an essay, then I would be fit to write that essay. So this was my strategy. I generally used to divide the essays in dimensions of political, economic, social, technological, or individual, society, family, national, international levels. So these were my two basis of dimensionalizing the essays. And I used to fill the essays with many examples so that the content also looks rich and uh, the examiner also finds it interesting to read. And apart from that, definitely quotes, anecdotes, my own stories that I would include.
All right. Coming to your personality test, you clearly said that you were trying to see me, but you were not able to see me just before the interview. But anyway, did you get sufficient time to prepare for the personality test?
Yes, sir. I got more than sufficient time. My personality test was on 12th of May. So I got around 1.5 months to prepare. That was more than.
What were the key elements of your interview preparation, if I were to ask you? What are the things did you do?
2 or 3 main things which I focused upon. Number one was DAF. I prepared each and every word mentioned on my DAF very thoroughly. I gathered some questions from different sources. I also asked my friends to make questions for me and wrote answers to all of them. So I have written question and answers for each and every important word mentioned in the DAF. Secondly, I focused a lot on current affairs. And for that, I made a group of my friends and we used to discuss daily current affairs every day and in the form of question answers. So that my friend would ask questions to me, I would answer. And similarly, I would ask question and he or she would answer. So in that way, I would also practice speaking. And at the same time, we would discuss current affairs. So that was another thing. And revising of basic stuff such as polity, economy, optional. These were the other major part of the interview program. So all of this culminated into giving mock interviews. And I gave many mock interviews that really helps me in speaking in front of the esteemed panel and expressing my views. So personality test mock interviews were really important for judging myself, sir.
All right, Naman. So if I were to ask, which board did you get in the interview and what was the most difficult question you think that the board asked you?
Sir, I got Satyavati madam's board. I was the first person to go in the morning session. So it was very quick. Not much time was left. And most of my interview was on the factual lines. Only 2 to 3 questions were from my DAF. Otherwise, all other questions were purely fact-based. So some of the difficult questions I remember was they asked me what is consumerism, and then what are the laws and the acts that India has for consumer protection. And then they asked what are the recent amendments that we made to the Consumer Protection Act. So I have read about it, but I could not recall the exact amendments to Consumer Protection Act. So I said, sir, I would read more on that. These were some of the difficult factual questions in my interview, sir.
So Naman, the examination in your case, this was your which attempt at the examination, Naman?
This was my second attempt.
Second attempt. So do you feel that any mistakes you made in the previous attempt or even this attempt, which if which you clearly realize that it was a mistake and I should have not made these mistakes, then what would those be?
Sir, in my first attempt, when I could not clear mains, I realized that my mistake mostly lies in optional. My optional was geography, and I could not prepare sufficiently in my first attempt. I could not make notes for each and every topic. So first thing I did after the mains failure was to dedicatedly give 2 to 3 months only for my optional preparation and cover whatever was left. So this is one thing which students might not realize, that accepting the mistakes and correcting them is very important. So I tried to make notes for each and every, again, word mentioned in my optional syllabus, and that really helped me this time. Secondly, answer writing, I could not focus a lot last time. This time I did a lot of answer writing and giving test with proper time management. So that also really helps, sir. Mistakes that I did this time, there were few. I thought that I would do some value addition or add some more good things in polity, in governance, in economy, but I just could not due to time constraint also and due to preparation of optional, which took a lot of time. So I think content was somewhat lacking this time also, but hopefully, thankfully, I scored good marks this time.
So if you ever had a moment of, though it is, you cleared the exam in the second attempt itself, which is quite a feat in itself. But did you ever have moments where you thought that you will not be able to make it? Very, very demotivated at particular times, especially let's say you're writing an MGP test and you've gotten pathetic marks. So did those things happen to you, which happened to a lot of us?
So that happened a lot of times. Even just before the results or final results, I was sure that I would either not be in the list, or if I would be in the list, I'll be ranked 250 or 300 something. So I was never sure that I would clear this examination so easily. And within the preparation also, there would be phases of ups and downs in which I would realize that a lot of things are left, or my optional is still not well covered, or I'm scoring poor marks in ethics or GS1. But I think these are phases in which if you be strong, be motivated, and keep on working in the right direction, they pass, and you are again rejuvenated and re-energized. So this happens with everyone. A lot of people share with me that they are not feeling so good after the prelims results, or they are not able to concentrate so well in the mains preparation. But these are phases, and everybody should try to overcome these with a positive mindset, sir.
Which pen did you use in the beginning of your preparation and during your prelims to blacken the circles, bubbling? And in the end, did you stay loyal to the pens, or did you keep changing? So what was your soulmate pen for this examination?
Sir, my pen for especially writing answers was this Hauser Sonic Gel. It's a 10 rupees gel pen, blue gel pen. I found it really good for me to write. I was very insecure because everybody was using Pilot, V7, V5, and so many pens. Then I bought all of them. I tried writing answers with them, but then I realized probably this one is a good one for me, and I stuck to that for answer writing. For prelims, I bubbled with that black ball pen only. So I don't know the name. It's just normal black ball pen. And for mains, it was Hauser Sonic gel pen.
I write articles on the forum as Neon, and these days I also do YouTube. In the past 1 year, I've come up with a couple of some strategy videos. So did you ever get a chance to watch them, or did you read any of my articles ever? How's it been?
Sir, I followed you a lot of times. I was secret reader, or not an active writer, but a reader on your blog, and I've read a lot of your comments, especially after mains this year. So I know you very well in that respect. But I haven't seen your YouTube videos. I will start seeing that also, sir.
All right, wonderful. So anything else you would like to, in the end, would you like to say to students who are appearing for the mains examination? What would you like to say to them?
So I would say that if you are appearing for this mains examination, clearing in prelims is a big feat in itself. Consider this as an opportunity to give your best. Don't miss any opportunity, and prepare whatever you can, be it content preparation, material collection, or answer writing, revision, whatever you can do, do your best. And this writing mains in itself is a big opportunity that you are getting. Use this opportunity to the best and show that you can be a civil servant as well. So these are, with my best wishes, I would wish all the aspirants best of luck who are writing the mains this year.
All right. Thank you so much, Naman. It was wonderful having you. Wish you best in all your future endeavors as well. It was great to have you at Forum and for this session as well. And we're very lucky to have students like you.
Thank you so much, sir, for having me and for all the support that Forum IAS provided, sir.